reminded me that there's only a few more updates between me and your happy hour. So I'm going to be brief on this. But to tell you how much we've enjoyed spending the last couple days with you, and that we hope that you have a sense that the Children's Bureau is really committed to support your hard work. We really see your role as leaders of setting high standards in the field and seeing the big picture. We understand that you're having to balance contextual factors and set direction. So in support of that, the Children's Bureau has been very deliberate to fund two major initiatives related to workforce development that we hope will promote leadership. These two different initiatives, one is the Leadership Academy for Middle Managers, and we've been piloting a program with and many of you are in Dallas. Let me have you, just the folks that went to the Leadership Academy for Middle Managers in Dallas, just stand up in the room real quick. I'm going to use you as my poster children for this. So what the Children's Bureau has funded is an idea that says if we bring middle managers together for 5 days of intensive training around implementation science, around adaptive leadership, and around coaching. So what we've said is come with a change initiative that you would like to see rolled out in your state or tribe. And in those 5 days, we're going to work on that intensely, the whole 5 days, and then provide some peer networking and coaching opportunities for you after you leave that residential training. We're doing this based on regions and asking regional office staff as well as state agency directors to identify who are the middle managers that have a lot of promise. So those that stood up in the room were identified by their agency directors and regions to say, we think these people are going to do some really exciting things in the field. So the Children's Bureau is excited to watch that happen. We'll be in every region across the country multiple times. So by the time we're done with this funding cycle, 400 to 500 people will be trained using the same language and having some common tools of implementing systems change in their organization. So we're very excited to see that. Now we also know how important that Leadership Academy of Supervisors is going to be in terms of creating the same kind of capacity at the supervisory level. So the National Child Workforce Institute has created what I think is a very practical online training for supervisors. Anyone in the country can access it. It's a 30 to 40 hour commitment. It's not where we want supervisors to start in terms of their supervision training, but it really is going to build leadership skills. We're also testing this in Indiana to see what happens if we roll out LASS across an entire state, so all the supervisors are speaking the same language around adaptive leadership and implementation science. So if you're interested in that, we'd love to talk with you about what infrastructure is needed to support that, but very excited to see what happens when we scale up and roll this out. So the way you can find out more information is the National Child Welfare Workforce Institute's webpage, or feel free to see me after the meeting, and I'd love to talk with you face-to-face. Thanks. Oh, and I didn't tell you who I was. Sorry. I am Randy Walters, and I work in the Capacity Building Division at the Children's Bureau in the central office. And I report to someone who I'm going to introduce now. Are you next? Jane Morgan, who is the division manager, who has really been a visionary and fearless leader in bringing in this implementation science and adaptive leadership and seeing what we can do to be innovative around systems change.
Thanks, Randy. I'm Jane Morgan with the Children's Bureau. I think Randy pointed out I'm the director of the Capacity Building Division at the Children's Bureau, and I think I'm your last speaker for the day, thankfully. This was just to let you know about President Taft and the anniversary that's coming up that we're real excited about. But what I wanted to share with you before we end today is some information about a new service that's available. It's part of our Training and Technical Assistance Network. The whole time we've been here over the last 2 days, we've been hearing about a lot of innovative things that are going on. You've heard from our National Resource Centers and our implementation centers about the services available through the Training and Technical Assistance Network and about a lot of innovative things that are happening. One of the things that we have done at the Children's Bureau was we have funded a Training and Technical Assistance Coordination Center. I'm responsible at the Bureau for the division that coordinates TNTA across the Bureau. And what's exciting about that is we have really built someone described it almost a vast array of services available to you. But making sense of all that and figuring out how to really utilize those services, we realize is not just as simple as calling up the regional office and say, hey, can I get that 10 days of free TNTA? It really takes some understanding of what's available and across all the different National Resource Centers. So we felt like it was really important to get a business process and some support both for the regional offices and for you at the states to kind of understand what's available and to help shape that TA so it really moves your system. So we funded a year ago a Training and Technical Assistance Coordination Center that is a contract with JBS International Incorporated. And our purpose is to develop and implement a single point of coordination for intensive on-site training and technical assistance services to both states and tribes. And we had a planning year, and they've started to have the process of helping to coordinate the training and technical assistance. Some of you may have been on calls with them as they're trying to do that. It's an evolving process that all the National Resource Centers are involved in, implementation centers, and the Coordination Center. Just a little bit about it. You'll get more information. We'll be sending more out, doing more training with our regional offices. But for TA requests involving multiple TA providers, oftentimes when our NRCs are in the states working with you, there are several National Resource Centers that may be phasing in the work or working together. The Coordination Center works in partnerships with the regional offices, with the state and the NRCs to help do an assessment, to coordinate and plan the TNTA response, to develop work plans, and to facilitate that ongoing coordination. And our goal is to support the provision of coordinated integrated TA service delivery across the National Resource Centers and Implementation Centers, to strengthen a shared identity and common approach to TA services, and to increase the familiarity of states and tribes and territories with what we have available for you from the TA network. So I'll finish with, to access that, you can go on the TTAC portal, and we will post this on the National Resource Center for Adoption's website, so you'll be able to get to that. And I also want to point out that many of you may know Melody Rowe. At one point, when we first funded Adopt Us Kids, she was the director of TNTA with the National Resource Center at Adopt Us Kids, and I'm not even going to try to say their whole long name. And then she's been with Organizational Improvement, and now she's joined the Coordination Center as their director. And here's her contact information. As I said, we will post it on the NRC website. Okay, any questions about the Coordination Center or? Okay. All right. Well, we're at the point of wrapping up our conference, wrapping up these 2 days. And as we do that, I'd like to do some thank yous. I'd really like to recognize the National Resource Center for Adoption, Natalie, Addie, Ingrid, and all their staff. Great job. We appreciate all the hard work that's gone on for more than a year to get this put together. I also want to recognize the other National Resource Centers, Adopt Us Kids that hosted our lunch yesterday, the National Resource Centers that hosted the reception last night. Man, that was good food. So thank you all, and thank you for all your work in putting together workshops and working with us. And I would like to recognize Heidi Staples, who has been the lead at the Children's Bureau for putting the conference together. When she started hearing that states weren't going to get to come to the meeting because of budget, she beat the path down to the commissioner's office and stood there and insisted that they had to start calling the state directors and telling them how important it was for you to be here. And it's paid off. 47 states are represented. And this time, so all the credit to that goes to Heidi. And I want to finish my part by saying thank you to all of you for being here, for your commitment. It's been very exciting to hear about the things that are going on in states. It just feels like we're on the verge of something really cool happening. I mean, we've seen progress. It's a different conversation. The conversation this morning about engaging families and seeing how that's happening and hearing about how that's working in states is very exciting. So I want to thank you all for being here. And I'm going to turn it over to Heidi to wrap us up.
Well, thank you, Jane, for those nice words. And really, I just want to say thank you to all of you. Thank you for all the work that you do every day. It's the most important job in the world. It really is. And thank you for your time, and you were really present for all of this. And it takes all of us to make this work. So anyway, safe travels to those of you who are headed home. To those of you who are staying for the meetings the next 2 days, Ingrid informs me we're starting tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. I said, who planned that so early? I have no idea. Oh, anyway, it's been wonderful, and I just want to say thank you all so much for coming. I hope you feel as good about it as I do, and this is just the beginning. So thank you all, and congratulations for all the good work that you're doing. You deserve a round of applause, so thank you.
And this is just a little gift from the hotel and everybody to Heidi for what she did to put this together. And we have one little giveaway. If you have a dot underneath your seat, you can take home the easy button and bug your families to death.